Right. So next we have Greg Peterson of urbanfarm.org. His podcasts reach 40,000 people a month, all about food, growing food. And if you just listen to the last half hour, you know why now it's so important that we coordinate locally and take care of our families locally. Because here's the thing, folks. Bill Gates is not in your house when you decide whether to give your kid a pharmaceutical medicine or an herbal tea that you grew in your backyard, right? Zuckerberg is not in your house when you decide whether your kid watches a show or reads a book, right? And Klaus Schwab, not there when you decide what you're feeding your kids. You decide. You are the ones that are going to create your family's future and the future of America and the world and beyond. So one step at a time means starting to grow your own food. And Greg, if you could tell us a little bit, you used to live in Arizona and you started your urban farm there and became a fruit farmer, and you sell thousands and tens of thousands of fruit trees, right, a year.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
still running that. And then you moved to Asheville, North Carolina, or Alexander, actually, North Carolina, and you have a bigger farm there now, right? So can you tell us a little bit about getting started, and then I know you want to get into your topic of where we have a film to show about feeding chickens, and we're going to get into it. So go ahead, can you tell us a little bit how you got started and what you're doing now?
Nice. So, I think I was born this lifetime with this. I'm 63 years old, and when I was 14, I wrote a paper on how we were overfishing the oceans. That was in 1975. And in 1991, um, I did a lot of work around landmark education, and in their advanced course,
Me too.
right? It's
Yeah.
a really good life-changing programs they do. And in their advanced course, I created myself to be the person on the planet responsible for transforming our global food system. And that's the reason for the podcast. That's really what gets me up in the morning. It's what's important. And in 1989, I purchased a third of an acre in central Phoenix. Phoenix has currently 4.7 million people. And I bought that property because I wanted a garden. And over the 32 years that I lived on the property, I turned it into Phoenix's first environmental showcase urban farm. And over the 20 years that I opened it for tours from 2002 to 2022, we probably had, I don't know, 20, 30,000 people come and look at this old growth edible forest that I had created, which included chickens and fruit trees and all kinds of food to eat. Basically, the forest around my house in central Phoenix was a place that I harvested a lot of meals from every week. And in 2021, via the pandemic, my partner and I decided to go someplace quiet. So we moved right down the street from Zen. That was a magic thing that I discovered maybe a year ago.
Yeah, we
And
were at the Azure Standard
yep,
pickup.
exactly.
Yeah. Hmm.
Exactly. And so we bought 4 acres here. And I recently planted, let's see, 10, 11 months ago, I planted out 90 elderberry plants. So that should net me about 500 pounds of elderberries next year. So I'm an elderberry farmer and
Yeah.
a serial entrepreneur and looking to change the world around our food system because it is so incredibly broken. So there you
It
go.
is. It is. But people like you, I do have to do another plug for Landmark, because when you do a program like Landmark, it's all about living life powerfully and living a life you love.
Mhm.
It's about creating breakthroughs in life. You create what you're up to in the world, like what your game is in the world. And when he told me that what he created was out to transform the global food supply, I was like, me too.
Right?
Yeah, it's like that is so awesome. Mine is to transform the food supply in America and health in America and beyond. And I do that. I'm committed to doing that by empowering community leaders to be global game changers. And
Mm.
so focusing on local, and national, and of course around the world at the same time. And so I just have to say, if you have any area of your life that you want to have a breakthrough in, please do Landmark. And the
Yep.
nonprofits that I know where their whole team has done it, they raise millions of dollars more than
Yep.
just because they have a mindset of, basically, yes, we can do it, or, we're gonna be like a river and get around the rocks and just be unstoppable and go do it anyway. So for anywhere in your life that you want to have a breakthrough, that's a great thing. So you started growing food and you moved to Asheville, and now you're an
Mhm.
elderberry farmer, and but you're still selling fruit trees, right? In Arizona, you still have that company?
Yeah, so 25 years ago, this is my 25th year doing it, I started teaching people how to grow fruit trees in the desert. And around that same time, I started bringing in fruit trees. And that started from a landmark thought process. I wanted to plant 500 fruit trees in Phoenix metropolitan area. So I started locating places that I could plant 20, 30, 50, 75 trees. And I got 50 planted the first year and I had 50 left over. And people were asking, well, how do I grow a fruit tree in the desert? So I started teaching in my living room, started my first classes in my living room. And it's, if you imagine a Christmas tree lot for fruit trees, that's how we run the program. It's a pop-up nursery. We're open for 3 weeks in January. And currently we sell about 4,000 fruit trees a year. And as far as I can gauge, over the past 25 years, we've sold about 80,000 fruit trees in southern Arizona, Phoenix, and the Tucson area.
So you
So
sell mostly in Arizona then? You don't ship the fruit trees around?
we do not ship trees. No,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
all about. However, if you scroll back up to the top of
Hmm.
the page, that program right there,
Yep.
not that one, the root camp. If you scroll to the left with the little arrow thing, there's one. Actually, go to urbanfarm.org/root camp.
Forward
R
slash.
root
Okay.
ROOTCAMP. Um, there you go. I am first and foremost absolutely about educating people, about inspiring people. The money comes later. I'm not worried about that. And so my team and I this past year put together a
Wow.
master course in growing fruit trees, and it's primarily themed for the low desert. However, what I learned in the past 2 years since moving here, everything that I teach in that master course, there's over 40 lessons in there, you can use wherever you're planting fruit trees. It's so magical.
And
When
you're
I,
giving this away for free now?
yeah, always
That's
have,
amazing. I'm gonna
always
take
have.
this
Yeah.
because I spent probably $500 on fruit trees last
Mhm.
year, and bushes, and different types of things. And I'm really sort of embarrassed to admit we have maybe four of them
Yeah.
out of 17 that made it. We did a lot of things very wrong. I don't know what happened, but we don't have, so I need a lesson, because I'm throwing money out. It's like throwing money down the toilet.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's and it's I explain it. If you go through our classes, and you and I can have a conversation about this as well, but if you go through our classes, it explains why. It's all about nutrition.
Yeah. Okay.
These trees need organic nutrition and lots of it. And we do that in the form of building healthy soil around the base of the trees when we plant them, adding organic or only organic fertilizer, spraying them with foliar, which is a foliar spray that goes right on the leaves to help them grow. It's a fertilizer. So it takes a lot to get them planted and in the ground, and then it's easy.
Okay. But
So
you've got to get it going with the fertilizers in the very beginning. Well,
exactly.
I'll take the course and see how that goes. But the best time to plant fruit trees is when they're dormant, right? Is in the winter. Can you still plant in the spring, or is it too late now?
Absolutely, you can. If we
Can?
were if we were talking Phoenix, I'd say absolutely not. The only time you want to plant fruit trees is January, February. But last July, here in Asheville, I planted 160 fruit trees and berry bushes. There was about 10 of us working over the course of 4 weekends, and and all except two of them made it.
Wow, that's amazing. You might be
Yeah.
the person. I went into a nursery and said, "Do you have any fruit trees?" There's certain fruit trees that, nope, somebody came in here and wiped out 100 of them. They're like, we got wiped out. It might have been you.
Nah, that
But
wasn't me, but
no, okay. Well, there are people who's still planting them. That's good to know because I
yeah.
still would like to get some in the ground. And let's just see. And do you want to say something about the fruit that you are getting from your property now? How long ago and how much you're getting right now?
Absolutely, and nothing. So there's a real key piece here
Hmm.
that people don't pay attention to. The first year, which was last year,
Yep.
was about growing the roots of the trees and berry bushes. The second year is about growing the shoots or the branches and the structure of the plants. And the third year is about fruits.
Okay.
And one of the things I'm noticing here on my elderberries is they're setting a lot of flowers, but not a lot of fruit, which makes perfect sense because the plants aren't strong enough to
Mhm.
bring that fruit on yet.
Okay.
So
Great.
yeah, you get fruit the third year and beyond.
Okay, that's great. That's good to know. I did plant elderberries and I got fruit. I think it was the second year, but maybe they were bigger than what some people have.
Hmm.
But then the goats got to them and they're
Mm,
like ate it down to almost nothing. So it's I think
wow.
they're still alive, but I think they have to like start all over again, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep your goats out of your fruit tree areas, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I want to segue a little bit because we have a little bit of time to talk about a project that we did. I want to show a little bit of a video where you came over to my house and helped to make black soldier fly bins to grow your own food for chickens.
Hmm.
If everybody remembers, just to set a little context, about a year and a half ago, maybe it was just a year, maybe it was 2 years ago, I don't know, but all of a sudden people were reporting that their chickens were not laying eggs and they were concerned it was the feed. And so people started reporting, yeah, my I'm feeding my chickens organic feed and they're still laying. They're fine. So my theory is that some of these drugs that we found, like narcobazine, which was in the Chick-fil-A, right, is an anti-parasitic, and they mixed up, or some people might say it's intentional, but whatever. I think that this anti-parasitic that is supposed to only be for meat birds, they only can use it for meat birds because it has egg laying birds. It prevents them from laying eggs. I think
Mm,
that anti-parasitic that was only supposed to be in the feed for meat birds got into the feed, or they mixed them up for egg laying birds. And so those chickens all stopped laying eggs. And but when they noticed the organic feed, the chickens were laying eggs, but people were saying it's so expensive. So, and it's very organic chicken feeds, $40 a bag. You've got to go
right.
through, at least one a week for if you've got a decent amount of chickens, it's a lot. So, I thought about how about we start growing our own feed for our chickens. They can pasture raise, they can, run around and get food, but we also like to make sure they have enough food. So I have a video now I want to share. Greg came over.
Well, wait, Zen.
Yep.
Maybe he could say something about how easy it is for people to actually have chickens if they don't, because a lot of people probably don't have chickens right now.
Okay.
And as somebody who kind of inherited some when my neighbors were moving, and
Well,
I
you
was,
could say it. Go ahead. Why don't you
all
say
right,
it?
so I was panicking. My neighbor said, "Hey, we're moving to South Carolina. Do you want a coop and everything else?" And I said, "Okay." And then the day we were moving the coop over, they plopped it down the back of my yard, and I proceeded to have a massive panic attack and said, "I think I made a mistake. I think I made a
Mm,
mistake. I think I made a mistake. Oh my God, what am I doing?" Blah, 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 blah. And now I couldn't imagine living without these guys. And they're so much easier, and they all have their own little personalities. And I have a half acre. I don't have a huge lot. I have a half acre and I fenced it all in. They're free ranging and it's so much easier. All I have to do is check with your city ordinances. I'm allowed to have four. I have five. Don't tell anybody. And yeah, it's
Yeah,
much easier than you think. So there.
great. It is. Yeah, and I wish I had pretty pictures of chickens right now, but you can all imagine they're adorable. And so this is what we're in a backyard. I cut off the first minute because I was just mostly introducing him. So here he's going to jump right into it. Okay. With drilling some holes and stuff.
Fantastic. We got two 5-gallon buckets.
Okay.
The top one's gonna have a few holes in the bottom of it so that the any water can drain out. We're gonna take one of these strainers. These are just from Lowe's or Home Depot. They're paint strainers. They're the 5-gallon size, and they're
Okay.
just gonna hang in the bucket.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put the black soldier fly grubs and soil in here, and then we put the food scraps in here.
Here, take a look right here at the black soldier flies in the compost and the food. So you can see the little squiggly things, maybe not.
Maybe not really.
You'll see them pretty soon. Okay, you'll see them pretty soon.
Yeah,
And so these are food grade buckets,
important.
food
yes.
grade buckets.
Yeah, you don't ever want to use an old paint bucket because you said it earlier, about the chicken feed.
Yeah,
We eat what the chickens ate. So if you're feeding bad food to your chickens,
yeah, we don't want to eat toxins and pesticides. So, all right, so Ben is gonna jump in here and start drilling some holes. I will film that. And it looks like this is gonna be a pretty quick and easy project.
it's super simple.
Awesome. And we're gonna save money on chicken feed and we're gonna be giving the chickens protein, which is super important. The bugs are loaded with protein, right?
Right.
Awesome. All right. Ben is drilling 1/4-inch holes in the bottom of this bucket, 10 holes, so that the liquid and waste can drain down into the bottom of the bucket. And the black soldier fly grubs won't get all gooey with mints, right? Yeah.
It won't drown essentially.
Okay. Taking out the plastic scraps. And then they're going to reassemble. There's the bucket with the holes in it, and then he's gonna put one of these mesh strainers in here, in the bucket. Here, it has an elastic around it, and then he's this, that's in this bucket right here, it's about 1/3 full, that he took some scraps from your compost bin, is
Yeah,
that
I
it?
just grabbed some scraps from my compost bin, some of the soil and whatever else was in there.
Mhm.
Put it in here. I put the soldier fly grubs in there, and you get those from a place called Pop Worms.
Pop worms,
They're out of Texas.
POPWORMS,
That's the one.
all right.
And you can actually buy grubs from them to feed your chickens as well as ones to grow yourself. And I just grow them myself.
Okay, so let's dump some of this in here.
Right.
Let's see, go ahead, Ben. You can see the little wigglers as they're falling in there. They're little white stringy things.
Stop. Yeah. That's
You can
them.
see the little squiggly guys. They're very small.
Yep.
But how long will it take for them to grow to be chicken eaten size?
20 to 30 days.
Okay, 20 to
Not
30
long.
days. Okay.
They grow fast. They eat twice their weight in food waste a day. So it's great. It's a great way to get rid of your kitchen scraps.
Okay, we've got kitchen scraps right here.
Nice.
How much should we feed the grubs? And should we put citrus in there or not?
I wouldn't put citrus in there
Okay.
or the eggshells.
Oh, or the eggshells. Okay.
I mean, the eggshells will eventually break down, but they take
Okay.
longer to break down.
Okay, we can keep those for tomatoes, guys. You
Oh
put
my
these-
gosh, that's exactly what I was gonna say. You crunch them up and you put them in your tomato holes when you plant tomatoes. I
Yes,
love that.
there you go. All
It
right.
helps prevent tomato end rot.
All right, great. So we're gonna put, how much of this in here, do you
We
think?
start with half of it.
Half of that, okay, and we'll keep the other half for tomorrow.
You're gonna kind of play with it. You're gonna kind of play with it a little bit to see how much of the scraps they actually
Go
eat.
ahead, you can dump more of it. There you go.
Good place to start. And then we'll take the rest of it and put it in here and.
Oh, more? Oh, you put more in?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay,
will.
okay.
We could have divided that up into 2 different bins too.
Like grubs
We
and
just
the
need-
whole thing. Oh my gosh, hold on. You check that out.
Ooh, wow, there's a lot of black. You wanna keep some of these for yourself?
No. I don't have chickens yet.
Oh,
Cool.
okay. So this is gonna be a lot of food for the chickens.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And we'll, here, let's break this out. We want to get them all. Yeah. Oh yeah, come on around here. The bugs are gonna like to get in there.
Oh.
So you,
Ah,
So you're protecting the black soldier flies from other bugs now, like
Well,
gnats and things like that?
Yeah, you just don't want to, because
Okay.
You put
the
that on
citrus
top.
gnats and all that kind of stuff will show up. So if you put that on top, then. Here,
And then
turn
do we-
upside down. Turn upside- there you go, like that.
And then do we just leave this outside or do we put it?
No,
Okay,
Put it in a garage or a covered space, because if you ever get outside, it'll, get, especially here, it'll get rained on, so.
okay.
Too much moisture and it'll
Yeah,
mold.
yeah, there'll be enough moisture in there from the food.
Okay,
Like I
could we put
found-
it in the barn? Is it okay to be out in
Yeah,
the weather?
Put it in the barn.
Okay.
If you're doing this in the
Oh, but we're
winter-
feeding it every
Yes.
day. Is it every day we want to put scraps in there?
So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna just kind of gauge by how much they've eaten. And when it starts to, they've eaten up all the food, then you add some more.
I'm just
Spot
gonna skip
new
ahead.
Babies in the past, if you let some of the grubs go to flies, and you've seen black soldier flies around if you've ever composted, if you let some of them go to flies, they can lay egg, excuse me. They can lay eggs, and, you can set up a system where you can have them re-egg their own every month or so. I never went that far yet, but we'll see.
Okay. And how long does that take? Do you know if?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So here they are. My
And
chickens
here's
are
these
eating.
Black soldier flies. That's what they look like when they're older. And that's oh, so gross. And we're feeding them to our chickens and ducks.
Now we fed them to them a little bit too early, I think. They were kind of small, right? But
Yeah.
but just, we just wanted to give a demonstration of what they were like. They're gonna get much bigger, is what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, they eat twice their weight in food scraps every day, so it's a great way to convert food scraps into chicken food. Although the food scraps are also great for the chickens. They go through 3 stages. They go from the larval stage, which when they're wiggly, to the grub stage. So they'll turn dark, they'll turn gray and be a lot less flexible. That's when you want to feed them.
Okay.
And they'll be a half-inch long.
Right. They
There's,
start turning gray and they're less flexible, is what you
yeah,
said. Half
and
inch
there's-
long. Oh, that's pretty big. Okay.
yeah, and there's 20% protein, high in calcium. The chickens love them. When I used to do black soldier flies in Phoenix, and I'd bring in the bucket and they all come running.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. And you're giving them healthy, good quality protein off your organic scraps. So you
Yep.
know that they are not getting any toxins at all. That is super awesome. I love
When
it.
my chickens got loose, I just put some grubs in a plastic container and shook them, and oh my
They
God.
come running.
They
Yep,
come
they
running.
do.
Come back.
Absolutely.
All
So
right.
one of the, just real quick, one of the things I used to do when I was in Phoenix, I made arrangements with a local restaurant, and that's where those buckets came from, actually, in Phoenix. I brought a bunch of them with me when I came from Phoenix, and I got their pre-meal kitchen scraps. Find a local restaurant that's throwing away kitchen scraps, and it's the ends of lettuce and that kind of stuff. And it's great for black soldier flies. It's great for composting. It's great for worm composting, and the chickens love it. So that's another free place to get chicken feed for you.
That's a great idea. We have some organic restaurants in Asheville. We could ask about picking that up. And we could set up several buckets, right? We could have several buckets of
Oh,
them
yeah.
ready. I get the chickens will eat a ton of them every day if we had
Oh, yeah.
we had
If you
them.
had
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Really fantastic. And it sounds like it's something that you could grow in the wintertime too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not necessarily just a spring. So does anybody have any questions for Greg?
While people think about it, I just want to do a shout out to Susie and Andrea for your great work, and Zen, amazing. Thanks for helping set this up, Anne. This is the most important work that we can be doing on the planet right now. Emphatically, this is it. I'm not passionate about it, but
Yeah.
Nor are we. I just
Sorry.
wanted to thank you, Zen, for creating this platform. I've been on these calls for many
Mhm.
years now, and you have brought people together from all across the world on different issues, whether it's WHO, WHA, regulatory bodies, food stuff. I mean, you have done such incredible work in bringing this platform to life. And I just want to give you my heartfelt gratitude for continuing to do this, but also coming to Geneva, sacrificing your time, your energy, and participating in the summit and the rally. It meant so much to Andrea and I and to everyone else that participated. You anchored that table. You brought so much knowledge and wisdom there. And
I did the food table, folks. They nominated me to be like.
she was the food table.
I
She was
wonder
because
why.
she is the food woman. Like who else would anchor that table? But it meant
Should
so
be
much
a
to
little
us,
Holland
and
told her to do it, but you know, she was the best person there.
Thank
But
you.
we're very thankful and just so thankful for everything that you do in the world and for everyone that's on this call. You know, you don't have to be a Zen Honeycutt. You don't have to be a Dr. Andrea. You don't have to be someone with a name. You are an individual and you will make a huge impact in your community. Stand up, speak up, connect with other people, and know that you can be the change. You can make a difference. You can be the voice. You can be the next Zen, the next Dr. Andrea, the next urban farmer, the next any of us. You can do that stuff. Just use your voice and know that you can make a difference. So that's where I want to encourage people. And I know that you have 2 minutes then, so I'm not going to take your whole platform here.
Thanks. Oh, it's okay.
Susie.
Thank you, Susie. I did, go ahead.
Susie,
Greg?
that was awesome. And you're right. Zen and Susie and Andrea and Greg are just regular people. We put our pants on the same way you do. We just took a stand and said, this has to change. Everybody can do that.
And we said, I'm the one, right? Not by ourselves, but we're not going to wait for somebody else to do it. That's the
Yeah.
moment that I had when everything changed for me was when I said, wait a second, I'm going to transform the food supply, not by myself, but just, I'm not going to wait for Robin O'Brien and Jeffrey Smith to do it. I'm going to take actions that
Yep.
will transform the food supply. And that's what we're doing. So we invite all of you to say that about some area of your life. It could be transforming your son's education. It could be transforming, you know, your relationship with your neighbor, or that your local county actually plants fruit trees instead of other trees that don't do anything except put out pollen and make you all sick, right? So, you know, you can do that, whatever you need to do in your local area. With 1 minute left, we had a question about chickens in a small backyard, 15 by 30
Yes.
total.
Yes.
Can
And
you do that?
I put my email in there. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yes, they need a small amount of area. If you have food to give them in scraps and all that, they, you know, of course they would love a larger area, but you can do
Yeah.
it. Thank you so much, everybody. You're amazing. You know, Valerie at Mark Dudla, our advisor farmer, and Jamie and Mona and Jody and Pat and Lori and Aaron and everybody, Frankie for Jamie for being on, Carrie. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye, everyone.